You can hear me. Hello, everybody. We're getting started here in just 1 second.
But you're boring.
Yeah, listen. Hey, man, don't tell them that. Oh, shit, they could hear that. I heard you say that. We're screwed now.
Oh, shit.
Oh, God.
Might be.
It's such chilly and it's amazing. Holy shit. I can't believe I can do this. I'm just eating this shit. Looking at settings, right?
Oh, yeah.
Shit, I gotta turn my light on.
And put your mic where it goes.
I mean, it is. Is it probably just picking up the wrong thing again?
No, it's right. It's just a bit lower.
Oh, it's right here.
You know what? I'll just turn you up in Discord.
Are people talking about Street Fighter on the
It's
chat?
the right mic. I never said it was the wrong mic. It's the right mic.
It is the right mic.
Yes, it is the right mic.
You did sound like kind of blowed up. Us.
That's probably because you have them turned up.
Whoa, look at this sweet background. Holy shit, that's
true,
good.
that's true.
Oh, this is great. Good job.
That's one
Very
up versus
nice.
CPU. He just sent this to me.
That's fantastic. I like how... You know, I just realized now that that's a cat shine
you're
in the
too
thing,
loud.
by the way.
You just saw,
That's
yeah,
funny.
you saw that? Yep, it's
I
part
just
of our
realized.
lore.
That's funny.
Now you are easily loud enough. Now that you're actually talking.
Well, we'll let the people tell me what they think of the volumes.
The cream of the crop!
Cream of the crop. Oh, God. Chili. Holy shit. The chili is good.
You know what? Let me just go in here. Take a look.
Who else is making soup right now? It's so hot here. I'm making soup in my pants.
Whoa.
Wow.
Speaking of pants, there's like some people like there's like a lot of discourse just about how game journalists we all dress poorly.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, man,
Hey, yo, what?
we don't get well, like for like events and stuff, like the Game Awards, and I get it. That's like, man, is that really the thing that we
What the-
want to emulate about the other industries? Is like the whole weird fashion.
Sorry,
thing?
Mike.
No, It's not. Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt this conversation. Do you saw the Street Fighter 6 thing? Is this real? Street Fighter 6 is releasing in June 2nd.
Yeah, June 2nd, according to PlayStation.
No. I see. Did they leak it by accident or something?
Probably.
That's funny. Man, that's later than I would have liked. That sucks.
That's way later than I would have liked it.
We kind of thought that was maybe happening when they said they weren't releasing a major game or something in so long. I'm not going to Game Awards, Nick. I don't wear shit. But if I was, I would be wearing jeans and a graphic tee.
That's
And
so
you know,
far
you
away.
could dress up nicely if you want to, whoever. But don't. You know, I don't get paid
Hell
enough to-
yeah,
I'm not gonna
no,
spend
hell
$100
no.
on clothes.
I want it in March.
No, we're not getting
They're
it
gonna
anymore.
do a bunch of tests. All right, let's see. Where are we at? There's this. We're not gonna be able to do the Hall of Fame tonight because the vote's not gonna be done until after we're done.
Well, so what you're saying
okay.
is you Wait.
fucked up the.
I mean, listen, I don't want to like point any fingers, but yeah.
No, that's all right. Give it another week.
Well, I
Tell
mean,
people
I think I
what
might
they're
have done
voting
that
on.
before we really decided exactly when
That's
we were going to
true.
do this.
Nah, I don't think that's
You're not.
true.
Actually, I'm gonna.
Alyssa, were you even there? I don't even know if you
Yeah.
were there.
I was there. We did it right after the
Shut
show
up.
Yeah, we
yesterday.
were here all together.
Shut
yeah,
up.
that's true. We did it.
Stream elements.
That's when also we decided that the podcast was going to be today.
Shut
Yeah.
up.
Weird how we fucked up those two at the same time. You know, having that
I wasn't looking at the
information.
clock.
Tell everybody I'm on my way.
Oh hell yeah, soup in my pants. No.
Well, we can tell
I don't
them
know
what
why I say
they're
that.
voting on. That's fine. We can give them all a chance to get excited. Man, is it the rumor is Diablo 4 in June also, right? Like that's a rumor going around.
Yeah,
Right,
that's
yeah.
also a rumor.
June. And Final Fantasy 16 also probably around then, right? So like
Mhm.
that one makes sense.
shit. Ooh, whoa, what's my stomach doing? Whoa, no, you like the chilly stomach. Calm down. You're happy about this. Oh no.
Queue up the where's the Russian just in case.
I have to crack a window.
Oh, no.
You better believe it is Dr. Sus.
Start warming up.
Oh, look at this. It's my tree now? Damn. It's all
No,
Christmassy.
that's my tree.
I'm gonna put my tree
Oh,
tomorrow.
you're right. We have a lot of similar ornaments. I don't have that Donkey Kong.
I'm gonna put up my tree tomorrow. Where's the? Aren't you a Bubsy guy? Why you need a
Where's your
Bubsy?
We have to make a Bubsy ornament for him.
Yeah, Bubsy ornament there.
What am I talking about? Obviously, they sell one at Hallmark.
Yeah, I might not have to play that game for a while, so I haven't played it for a while. I might continue. And if I were really a Bubsy guy, would I really go a month without playing Bubsy 3D? Makes you think.
Who? Are you? Well,
I must not be a Bubsy guy then.
are you? Maybe you're lying and you're playing all the time.
I doubt it. Okay, let's see.
I see you in Steam playing RetroArch.
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm voting up on there.
Bubsy there.
Is this right? What is some of these?
Real Bubsy guys don't measure themselves out. That's true, Dr. Sus.
Okay, you know what? Let's get Mike in
Bubsy, once a
here.
Bubsy guy, Bubsy for life.
Chris, you're so loud.
I'm sorry.
Turn him down in Discord.
I am. I was already turned down. I'm turning him
never
down
mind.
even more.
Never mind, all right.
There's
Look, I
never
wasn't-
been a
Yeah,
better
my
time
my
to
mic
play
was
the
like
reprimanding
so
him
loud.
for it.
Sorry. Yeah, my mic was this mic has a volume thing on the bottom of it. It's where I grab it all the time to move it around, and sometimes I
see.
forget.
Yeah. Mad Mikey. That's a good. That would be. There's probably already a movie called Mad Mike, or Mad Mikey.
Yeah. It's the action sequel to Magic Mike.
No Bubs. December.
I watched speaking of Magic Mike, I watched that Bullet Train movie. I don't get the hate. That movie is great. I think that movie is funny as fuck.
I don't think I've seen anyone even hating it, but
I don't
Oh, people hate
remember it.
that movie.
Mhm.
It has like a 5 star on everything.
else I play? Wow.
Yeah, I was talking about it on
Shit.
the.
What did I just do?
But the movie thread on the Discord. It's pretty good.
What's the last one here? Yes. Super Kiwi.
What's his name? The
Oh my god, why is this
Kick-Ass
so
guy.
weird?
He's so hot in that shit.
Why is my camera not showing up now, motherfucker?
Oh.
Aaron Taylor Johnson.
What the hell? Oh my god. All right, OBS is just being completely stupid for me.
It's fun like that, isn't it?
You want to restart it?
Sometimes for me,
I
I
don't
noticed
know.
there was some weird Discord thing I noticed opened only in my command list that I closed, and my camera started working in OBS once. It was like not even.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, or something weird.
This is our first podcast, yes.
No, this is OBS just being shit right now. You know what? I'm gonna have to refresh that.
I wonder what Sean's doing. He's
That's
probably
fine.
busy streaming Pokemon.
It's rearranging the room.
Tell everybody I'm on my way. How mad are all the people who missed out on my shirtless pool stream?
Yeah, they're all furious. All right, whatever. I'll just use this
He's
one.
streaming
If you're
earlier.
gonna be
I need
fucking
to follow him.
Aw, Jeff, you need a hug, buddy. Think about your holes.
I just need OBS to stop being broken. It's fine. Okay, let's see here.
See. Okay,
It's a
let's
good
go
camera
down the
too, though.
checklist. Music, tweet. There we go.
I tweeted already, so we're good on that.
Good shit. Now I get the music. It sounds like shit, but
Yeah,
as long as you can hear it, it's okay.
Yeah, I can fix that. Hang on. Now they'll be able to hear it. There we go. I'm gonna turn down a little bit for them. Okay, we'll get going. We'll get started. I think. Delete that.
I think instead of Christian turning his mic down, he turned it up. Seems a lot louder. I turned it down. I can turn it down even more. There we go.
All right.
I don't know. Maybe Chef has me.
It doesn't matter because we're kicking you out now, anyways.
Yep. All right.
Okay.
Let's get going. Mike, are you ready?
I'm ready, sir.
Okay.
Daddy, I'm ready.
Let me just put this there. There we go. Okay. Let's do some. I'm gonna count us in. We'll get started here right now, everybody. In 5.
Who's that? That wasn't me.
I believe you.
That wasn't the beans.
In 5, 4, 3. It's the internet. You're busy. Let's do this. Welcome to the Game Mess Decides podcast. This is the podcast where we decide everything about the world of games so you never have to think for yourself. I'm your host, Jeff Grubb. With me is
Mike Minotti.
In today's episode, Phil Spencer is a slut with his 10-year commitments for Call of Duty, and we're deciding the Mount Rushmore of movie tie-in games. But first, Mike, how are you doing?
I'm good. I made a lot of chili, and it's good. I like it. I want to eat more of my chili, so I'll do that after this.
Everyone thinks you tooted before the episode started.
No, that was
just Christian.
okay.
That was just Christian.
If nothing else, I own up to my farts. I mean,
Yes.
come on. You really think I'd be embarrassed about farting?
No,
on
I
this
know
show.
You. No,
Yeah,
at this
come
point,
on.
absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Do you think I have any shame?
Yeah, but that chili that you were working on it yesterday, it came together pretty nicely for dinner tonight.
Yeah, it's got a big pot of it, and I can basically just eat it for like a week. Got it nice and roasty. It's got a lot of depth of flavor, Jeff.
Ooh, you want that flavor depth because you can't go too spicy, but you can go deep.
I can't I can't go too spicy anymore because of the Crohn's, but that's okay. There's still a lot of flavor you can add with. I use poblanos for the chilies, which isn't a very spicy chili. I also use some unsweetened cocoa powder to give it a little bit of that like mole, right? That's a thing, flavor, which is nice.
Guacamole, totally, absolutely.
And that's not exactly this. I also put in a little bit of. I saw this at the grocery store today. Bottled Arby's sauce.
Ooh,
put a little bit of that in there for a little tang. So very nice.
That sounds delicious.
Yeah. I never just seen Arby's sauce sold at a store. They also had horsey sauce, which I actually don't like. But
sure, that's fine.
I actually do not need a bottle of Arby's sauce. I have so many spare packets. But, I mean, come on. It's like I can't not buy a bottle of Arby's sauce.
Yes, for real. I think I've seen the Arby's sauce once, but it's been a long time. I'm glad that they still sell it. That's a relief to me.
I never saw it before. It's very exciting. Yeah. I think it's new, at least at the Giant Eagle in Ohio.
Right. Maybe Kroger had the exclusivity rights to it for a while, and then they just made a 10-year deal and all that stuff. There's a joke about it. Mike, the Game Awards tomorrow night. That's why we're doing this on Wednesday. I mean, we're going to talk kind of about some other stuff, but any last-minute predictions for what's going to happen at the show? Most people are probably going to listen to this episode after they watch that, so we don't have to get too granular. What do you have? Any last-minute thoughts?
I don't know if I have predictions, but it's like, stuff seems like leaking. Apparently, PlayStation may have, like, right before we went live, accidentally said that Street Fighter 6 is happening on June 2nd.
Yeah, come out June 2nd. There's a bunch of pre-order bonuses and stuff, so... Yeah, at least that's what the rumor is right now. I guess we haven't confirmed that, but that looks right.
So there's going to be a lot of that, like Final Fantasy 16 getting a release date, other things like that. A lot of things coming out maybe this summer. It might get kind of crazy then.
Yeah, it seems like things are really getting to loggerheads in terms of jamming up the first 6 months of next year. It's going to get pretty wild.
I guess my worry is what could really be exciting? Like, what can really be like, oh, I bet you didn't think this game was going to get announced, and here it is. And I couldn't predict it because I really won't know what that could be until it happens. Crash Bandicoot also just tweeted the Crash Bandicoot count that something's going to be happening tomorrow. So it's like we're getting we're almost getting a picture now. And that's like what I'm worried. It's like, do I already kind of know what's going to happen? That's my concern.
Yeah, I don't expect anything too major beyond the things we already know and the things that are leaking. I think there's a chance just because I think From Software could show up with like Armored Core or something like that, just based on them maybe being ready to show a trailer for something new. But they could also just bring the DLC for Elden Ring just as easily. But I mean...
The other DLC, because they like kind of just tweeted other like the PvP DLC.
Yes, exactly. But like a big expansion sort of thing. But I don't know. I think it's just as possible that they actually just bring Armored Core there. Also, we haven't heard from Ken Levine in a long while. Maybe he pops up, something along those lines.
Is he actually working? Is he working on that new BioShock game? That's not right. He's not. But there is a new BioShock game. Yes, maybe we see that.
There is a new BioShock game in the works that could be happening
from Ken Levine.
Yes, exactly. That seems possible.
What Ken Levine? I mean, I care about the new BioShock oddly much more than I care about Ken Levine's new thing.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Sorry, your audio is just all over the place. I don't know what it is. It doesn't seem like it's your fault. So I'll see what I can do. But yes, there we go.
Yeah, I think he has something turned on because like the music was still coming in really weird for me.
Yeah, that's in Discord, and that shouldn't be affecting what you sound like, but. Either way, because you sound fine to me. It's just OBS being weird. But I think OBS is just freaking out tonight, honestly.
OBS has just had enough of your shit, Jeff.
Yeah, I've done a lot of messed up stuff to this OBS, and it's time. It's done doing all that stuff for me.
It sees all those holes you're digging. It's getting nervous.
It should. Everyone should be nervous.
I'm nervous. There's very highly detailed photoshops of my corpse in one of them.
Yeah, I mean, there's many of those, and I'm happy with every single one of one. Yeah.
Everyone was jumping to put my body in one of your holes.
Yep. There we go. All right, let's get into the show. Before we do, I want to thank everybody for joining us. You can get more from Mike and me by joining the Discord at GameMess.net. If you want to ask us a question, you could drop a super chat during the show here on YouTube. You just hit that super chat button, send it over. We will answer all of those before the end of the show. Thank you to Carlos Aina, who is Insane in the Rain Music on YouTube for the use of our theme songs. We are on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and wherever pods are caught. Give us a good rating wherever you are listening and hit that like button here on YouTube because it helps people find the show. Thank you to our mods. You could support us by going to patreon.com/GameMess. That gets you access to the private channels in the Discord, access to the monthly Q&A, 1 month early access to our Jeopardy games. You can watch those live. We just did one last week, and you missed it, but you can still watch it early by signing up for the Patreon or hitting the join button here on YouTube. Both of those will get you access.
I watched that Jeopardy last night, Jeff. That was an exciting one.
It was a close match, right? It was a really good one. I think you shouldn't be there every month, personally.
No.
And you also get your participation in our monthly game club discussions, which you guys just recorded a new one of last night, right?
Yes, we recorded our Guardians of the Galaxy discussion, which was interesting. There was a contingent of people who didn't like it, Jeff. I thought it would just kind of be a gush fest, but
here's what happened in that game. I'm sorry I couldn't be there. I was at a Mexican restaurant having the time of my life.
The time of your life. I hope that's not an exaggeration. I hope yesterday was literally your best day ever, just eating chips and salsa.
I mean, every time you walk into a Mexican restaurant and they just bring you chips and salsa and you don't have to say anything. Right? It's been a while since I've had that happen to me, and it's like, okay, never mind.
Other restaurants give you water and bread, literally what you get in prison. And
yes,
here is
exactly.
Chips and salsa.
It's immediate. It's a fiesta. It's the exact opposite.
What is it? My birthday?
Yeah, it feels like it.
By the way, in about 3 more hours, it's my birthday.
Oh, Jesus Christ, that's right. I forgot. Oh, my God. I should come hang out with you or something. The thing that happened with Guardians of the Galaxy is that the reviews in the first initial reactions were, it's whatever, and it's easy to or I find it forgettable, or it's easy to bounce off of. And I think at the end of the year last year, people were coming around and be like, actually, I'm really into these characters and really enjoying the storytelling, and the action surfaces all of that well enough. And it does a lot of clever stuff, like with the fridge, where you just feel a part of this world and it's memorable. And that was like a backlash. And then I think there were some people who were still like, no, actually, I just don't like this. And that those people are always out there. And so I'm not surprised to hear that some of our community felt that way.
It was a good discussion. It'll be up on YouTube soon. We also have a separate podcast RSS feed.
Yes, we do.
For the Game Mess Game Club now. People should.
It's just called Game Mess Game Club. So if you search for your podcast feeds for that, you'll find it.
And we're playing Strider 2014 now, Jeff. It was funny. Somebody just tweeted yesterday, they made a Metroidvania Strider in 2014, and it was great, and no one talks about it.
I was
like, how about that? We're playing it. We're going to be playing it this month, so I'm very excited about it.
That's very. I will try to play that one because I've never played that, and I love the idea of Strider, and I love Metroidvanias. So
yeah, I bet it'll be a good Steam Deck game, Jeff.
Real quick though, just want to say it's the holidays. It's that time of year where people are trying to save money to do things for their family. So everyone that has joined a Patreon in the last couple of weeks, there's been a little bit of a surge. Thank you so much. It means a ton. Like, you don't have to.
There has been. Ooh.
It's just a tiny one, but it's like, every little bit counts, and
it means for Mikey.
It means a lot to us. It means a lot to Mike. Helps him pay for his Disney trips. So
help me pay for those very expensive Disney trips. I got my new Big Thunder Mountain shirt on.
Ooh, that looks good.
That's like a top 5 ride for me now, man. I love Big Thunder Mountain.
Well, what's the water ride they're closing down? The famous one?
Splash Mountain's becoming Tiana's River Adventure. I don't know why it's just not still going to be called Splash Mountain, honestly. But
Tiana's River Adventure. Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
I only ever did Splash Mountain one time. I do not like the very big drop. So.
Okay. Well, fair enough. That does it for that, though. Let's get to the big topics of the week. Microsoft has entered into a 10-year agreement with Nintendo and Valve, I guess, to release Call of Duty on those platforms. Mike, this only matters if the deal goes through. And then I have another bullet point here that says, also, this doesn't matter. This is not a real thing. All that. Obviously, the agreements are real enough that Phil Spencer could go out and tweet about it, and they could make a big deal out of it. But Nintendo's like, oh, okay. Well, you don't have to do this. You could just release the games on our platform. Everyone's allowed to do that.
We don't need your word.
Have you seen the eShop? We'll let anyone do shit on our shit. We are open, wide open. We are gaping.
Jesus, was it Wall Street Journal? Some mainstream news thing was like, can you imagine Call of Duty on a Nintendo
New York
system?
Times, an embarrassing thing for the New York Times. So
it's like, guys, it's better than before.
They worked hard to maintain a family-friendly image, and then you cut to Doom and the guy just ripping the skulls out of things. And
Bayonetta's a first-party game. She says fuck.
Yeah, and she kills angels. And she's got a great ass.
She's got an ass, and she's like, "Ooh, I hope you're not thinking about having sex with me. That would be naughty." Tenno's like, "This is good.
Yeah.
Yes, we actually are going to put more of this in our other games. Oh, Fire Emblem's a hit now."
Yeah, it's a lot of people really liked the tweet I did about like the hentai on the eShop, and I'm glad no one was like, actually, there isn't any hentai on the eShop. Everyone got the joke. I appreciated that.
Everyone understands.
Yeah, there's a contract. Yeah, it says there's a contract. Yeah, of course there is. Who gives a shit? Like, it doesn't matter. Like,
it doesn't matter.
If Microsoft wanted to, there's not a contract for Minecraft, and those games are still coming out. It's all
about
posturing.
Sony. It's so nakedly about Sony. The other executive or somebody, I forget who, literally was like, "We are so happy to make this deal with Nintendo. Whenever Sony is ready, we'll come to the table." It's like, oh, I mean, guys, yes, we get it. We all know what you're doing here. It's almost not even a little. It's kind of getting ham-fisted here, Jeff.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say that I think they're still doing okay. They need to get ham-fisted for who they're dealing with. These regulators.
I guess it works for the regulators. It obviously is very eye-rolly to us, but it's not for us, I guess.
Right, yeah, I think if we're paying enough attention to know that this deal always seemed like it should go through based on the precedent from before this, and Microsoft being a better place for most of these employees than Activision Blizzard, and Microsoft being able to enable a lot of the games that we want to get made to come out and compete in the marketplace, whereas Activision Blizzard was slowly just doing more and more Call of Duty and fewer games in terms of variety. So it's like there's a lot of reasons to think, oh, this deal just makes sense to us. Regulators were just like $69 billion. That's a lot of money. Have you heard Sony? They have a big issue with this. Sony's your main competitor. Are you trying to be unfair to them? And it's like, well, Nintendo's fine with us having this. Like, that's all it is. If that's what Sony's saying we're being unfair, we have an agreement with Nintendo. Nintendo's basically just like Sony. They're fine with it. We have a contract. Look at this thing. We'll do the same contract with Sony if they're willing to do it. Like, they have to almost spell it out like that I
guess so.
And in those terms, this strategy is fine. It makes a lot of sense. It's probably going to work, I think. Because it does make Sony look like it is out on an island all by itself. But it is like, first of all, you don't own these games yet. You're making commitments for games you actually don't own yet. That's weird.
Right? That's weird. There's got to be a lot of language in that contract, man. Yeah, and and then the other thing is, Nintendo is just going to be picking up that phone and be like, we honestly don't know why you're calling us. Why are you calling us right now? Right. And they announced it on Japanese time. He did it at about what was it, like 8, 9. Wasn't it like right after our show?
Yeah,
Nintendo.
So yeah, it would have been like probably like 11ish or something Eastern, which is about noon, 11 a.m. In Japan, around there. So it's like, yeah, they probably had a morning meeting, got everything finalized, got the thumbs up from Nintendo, and went out there and tweeted it, because they really are basically going right into some major potential regulation from the FTC in the UK and the EU. Like, there's meetings happening very soon about concessions. And now Microsoft can go and say, we have something in writing with another company. We will replicate this with any other company that's willing to come to the table. And we are also willing to make this contract sort of binding in your concession agreements. Which is something that Brad Smith said as well. He's like, we will make this part of the regulation if we have to. So they're doing what they need to do. It probably will work in the end. It's a weird one.
It is.
Speaking of a weird one, they got him again, Mike. They got him again. Yuji Naka arrested for a second time. Originally, a few weeks back, he was arrested because of insider trading allegations regarding $20,000 or the equivalent of $20,000 that he put into a company called Aiming that was going to be working on a game called Dragon Quest Tact. And he made that investment before anyone else in the public knew, based on what seems to be, allegedly, information that he had from working at Square Enix at the time. He's been arrested again for doing basically the same thing with another studio, the studio that made the Final Fantasy Battle Royale. What a game to go to jail for. Yes, the game that got announced, came out, and has now since been shut down, or is in the process of getting shut down. For this one, though, it's not $20,000. It's about $850,000. It is a lot more money. So
is Yuji Naka actually going to go to jail?
I think it's Japan. His career's already basically over. The punishment is just getting arrested. So he's screwed on that side of things, but he might also go to jail. I also think this answers the question that we always have, Mike. Are game developers like Yuji Naka rich? Like, are they millionaires?
Right. Yeah, we wonder. Well, I mean, if he had $850,000 to invest in them,
I suppose it's possible he could have been borrowing against some potential future assets, or maybe he's really overextending himself. But I mean, I don't know how to get $850,000. I'm very far away from that. I think you kind of have to be in a certain tier or strata of society to be able to get your hands on that much money for an investment. So
yeah, you got to be a Tommy Tallarico with a Spider-Man.
Got to be a TT. Yeah, absolutely, a Tallarico boy. I think that yes, he's probably going to. He might go to jail. These are all allegations. We'll have to wait and see how the court.
Is it possible he just didn't know what an insider trading was? And it's like, well, this is lucky me. I know that this studio is about to get this big project. I guess I can just go and invest in them. Like, oh, I'm so smart. I figured this out.
I think it is possible because it's like some people just consider those good stock tips. Like that's just a good stock tip. Thank you.
There's a lot of stupid people in the world.
He probably knew that. Well, I mean, he did make Balan Wonderworld, so.
He did make Balan. What does he know?
What does he possibly really know? Just sort of Mr. Magooing his way through life, and now he got arrested twice. I don't know what happened.
Jan asked, you guys are talking about Mr. Magoo on Bombcast or something. Jan was like, is Mr. Magoo blind? And I was like, oh, Jan. That's the one thing we're supposed to know about Mr. Magoo.
Yes, that was fun. It was like, I was surprised at the results of the poll. You know, we should ask this chat too. All right, if you and you can let me know later on Twitter if you're listening to this on the audio version. But I'll create a poll here. Do you know who Mr. Magoo is? Are you aware of
If you're not aware, the Mr. Magoo Christmas Carol is actually one of the best adaptations of
Hell
Christmas
yeah, I'll
Carol.
watch that.
It's very good. Yeah, that's good stuff. You know what, Jeff? I think we knew, especially because of that weird Wienerville show on Nickelodeon, where they just got a bunch of old cartoons, like the old Alvin the Chipmunks and that kid with he made the sounds, but they also played a lot of Mr. Magoo cartoons.
Yes, I watched a lot of Mr. Magoo cartoons like that. Yeah, they're good.
And then there's the Leslie Nielsen live action movie that they made that was fun.
Yeah, they did do that.
I like Mr. Magoo. I like laughing at his disability.
Yeah, I know. It's like, it does feel like from a different time. He can't see, and he keeps putting himself in life-threatening situations. That's hilarious. What a dumb bitch. It's like... Okay. Well, I think times have changed a little bit.
Times have changed.
Those are the two big stories I wanted to talk about. Feels like there's a million other things to happen.
There's a story we better be talking about here.
I didn't write it down. What is it?
Are you kidding me, Jeff? We finally figured it out. We finally found out the fucking problem why Days Gone was robbed of all the accolades, of all the sales, of all the game awards. It was because of fucking wokeness. We should have known, Jeff.
Days Gone director blames middling reviews on woke reviewers and tech issues. This real quick, I'll just kind of read this from Jordan Midler. I had this one earlier today, and honestly, it was just so inane and so asinine.
It's one of the greatest things I've ever read.
Yes, I did an ugly laugh when I saw this. I actually had to just find a tweet, ugly laughing, and that's what I put out there because it's just unbelievable. This already feels like it happened a million years ago. It was just earlier. It was this morning. All right. The 3 reasons Garvin replied when asked why he thought Days Gone didn't catch on. 1, it had tech issues like bugs, streaming, and frame rate. Okay, cool. And I like how he just states that it had those things. Like, what could I do about that?
Right.
We're all looking for who did this. Like, I don't know. But it had those things. And then he immediately switches to accusation mode. Number 2, it had reviewers who couldn't be bothered to actually play the game. That's honestly, if he just said that, all-time great tweet right there, because it's just you could, oh man, that little make-believe thing of reviewers who don't actually play the game. I fucking know it. We got them.
Are there any other fields where they do that, where the people because this happens all the time in gaming, are our restaurateurs are they didn't even really eat the meal.
I bet probably it probably does happen.
They didn't even actually watch the movie.
Yeah,
he was on his phone the whole time. What do you mean they didn't play the game?
Yeah, I mean whatever. And then number 3. When he says, and 3, it had woke reviewers who couldn't handle a gruff white biker looking at his date's ass.
That's just incredible.
Honestly, the sentence keeps getting better every word you read.
It's getting better. It's so funny. Jeff, Nathan Drake talks about a person's ass every time he climbs like a mountain with
Yeah.
a girl. Like,
Yes,
you
it's
know,
it's his whole personality, basically.
his whole bit.
Yeah. Then obviously, like in Red Dead Redemption 2, which people pointed out has like glowing reviews. There is a ton of really problematic stuff in there, and you play as a gruff white cowboy. And it's, I mean, I don't know. This is just so obviously not the problem. The problem is you made something that looks like a generic, Walking Dead / generic Last of Us on a system that already has The Last of Us. So it's like, It was always going to be this tough comparison, and you put yourself in that situation. What is anyone else supposed to do about that other than sort of, do the snooze emoji at it?
Yeah, I mean, look, there's been these loud people. Oh, I like Days Gone. Like, okay, it's fine, guys, but look, not all of these games can be great. Like, people get mad. Everything's an 8 or a 9, and for once, we were like, this is a 7. Everyone's like, we're furious, and we're never gonna stop talking about this now. Like,
I mean,
God.
the biggest issue here is that Sony puts out games that can't be 7s. It just couldn't. This game can't be a 7 for as much money as it cost, and for the company that it's trying to stand next to in terms of other games that come out as from first party PlayStation. You just can't put out 7s. They look really bad. Other systems probably could get away with some 7s. I had some fun times with 7s on the Switch this year. It's just this looks out of place there, and these games cost a lot of money to buy, like just actually to buy, not just to make. $60, and Days Gone obviously went down in price in terms of the secondhand market pretty quick. But people are going to say, I'm going to wait, and you can't do that with these games. Everyone has to be there day one, boosting up those sales so that they can recoup their investment. And Days Gone was just not a game that made people feel like they needed to be there day one. It was one of those ones like, I don't know if it comes to Steam, and maybe if it's on a Steam sale, yeah, I'll check it out then. And a lot of people did, but not enough to make it make sense for a Days Gone 2.
It's also like, enough people played that game. Enough people say they like that game. What are you so insecure about? Did you really, are you that sad you didn't get to make a Days Gone 2? I don't know. I guess he's out of the studio, so I guess that's what he's bitter about. He even mentioned that at some point. I don't know. It's just weird, Jeff. I'm tired of hearing about Days Gone. I was tired of hearing about Days Gone after they revealed it. I was like, oh, wow, they're just making another zombie game.
Yes, exactly.
So,
but can I just read you the one more bit from him?
Yes, please.
One response from someone, like I think a fan of the game, says, "Come on, John, woke, you're better than that." To which Garvin replied, "Nope, I'm really not. If a reviewer objects to a character because of identity politics, I call that woke."
What reviewer?
How am I
what
wrong?
review?
Right. Listen, it is textbook making up a guy in your head to be mad at. And even if this did happen, even if there were like 10 reviews out there that talked about this,
Doesn't matter.
I promise you that was not the reason people didn't buy the game. People do not go and look, oh, a woke reviewer was mad about identity politics, I better not buy this game. Are you high? That isn't happening.
I beginning to think this person doesn't understand how anything works. Yeah, whatever. It was obviously a very stupid tweet. It's really all we had to do was point and laugh. We don't have to explain why it's stupid. It's so obvious why it is.
All right, let's get on to the rest of this woke podcast here. Actually, Mike,
hey,
do we
Jeff,
have any...
Jeff, I promise to ride you as hard as you ride your motorcycle.
Thank you, Mike. I appreciate that. That's how we get biker married. And I look at all these woke comments now in the chat. Everyone's so upset. They can't handle it. They're gonna go play another podcast.
I can't handle it, and the fact that they can't makes me feel better about myself because I don't have much else going on.
Oh yeah, of course. Hey, listen, same here. Mike, could you read me some of these super chats, and then we'll take a break and we'll get to the rest of the podcast.
Nothing would make me happier. These ones are from yesterday. This one is from today. Uriel Delgado says, "Do you have a wish list of hopes to be announced tomorrow? For me, it's Metroid, Dino Crisis, and Avowed gameplay. It would be cool to see Metal Gear Solid Remake there also." I mean, yeah, it's like all this stuff. Like, there's stuff I know it's going to be there or expect to learn more of. But in terms of announcements, I just don't know. I just don't know what to even expect anymore. We're at this weird point where it seems like anything can happen, really, Jeff, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Avowed gameplay, gosh, I haven't thought about Avowed in a while. I don't know if I'm ready to think about Avowed. Dino Crisis. One thing is that, maybe that Final Fantasy Tactics thing's going to happen. If we're talking about the things that have been quote-unquote leaked before, maybe I see that Final Fantasy 9 remake, whatever that is, and it will be cool to see what that looks like.
Yeah, I don't know. My hopes are all just on Metroid Prime HD for obvious personal reasons. Sure. Yeah.
There's a thread on Jump on Discord. Like, does Jeff really have to cut his hair?
Yeah,
I'm just saying, Jeff. There's an out. There's an out there.
I'm not. No, I'm not taking it. I'm not taking the out. I gotta. Because there were enough people in there. They were like, nope. Make a promise, got to keep it. And I'm like, I agree with that. Generally, I agree with that. So, especially since it's not like I'm doing permanent damage to myself or anything. I guess we'll see if the hair actually grows back.
It'd be funny if it never comes back.
Yeah.
The same.
Yeah. But, if that happens, it happens. I'm okay with living with that. Any other super chats?
Yeah, a couple more here. El Grug says, Mike, question. Where are you going to play Crisis Core? Man, I want to play it on Switch, but it's like, I mean, that's 30 FPS.
Is it like out now?
No, I think it comes out next week. I'm probably gonna play it on I'll probably get it on Xbox so that, excuse me, if I need to, I can play it on my Series S to stream it, and then if I want to be comfy, I can play it on my Series X on my couch. So probably Xbox is where I'm gonna play that. And then, there's a question for you. What are the holes for, Jeff?
No.
All right, he says no. Drum Dog 0211.
Wait, how much was the super chat?
$5.
No, that's not enough.
Drum Dog 0211 says, unrelated, weird how after Ross 343 is good now. I don't know if there's enough time has passed to say that there is a culture change and that 343 is better. I mean, people seem to like Forge, Jeff. I don't know if Forge has completely saved the Halo Infinite ship, right?
Yeah, I think it's kind of a both things could be true. Forge is what Halo needed, and it's too late. Like, it's also kind of too late to really fully save. They're going to need more at this point on top of that. I think if you're still playing Halo and you go play what it is now and the kind of improvements that they're making to ensure you can get to the good content that's coming out of Forge, all that stuff is happening and people seem to really, really happy with it. Am I ready to go on our Discord and try to convince a bunch of people to come play Halo Infinite with me? Nah. Most people have moved on, and I kind of don't want to be the one trying to drag them back in.
I mean, I moved on. It's like, look, I'm playing Overwatch 2 now if I want to play a shooter.
Yeah, exactly. And I have no interest in trying to convince you otherwise, or anyone else. But you know what? The co-op is amazing, says friend named Lee. I do want to play that.
That'd be fun.
Single player
That's a different
co-op
kind of proposition.
Yes,
right?
absolutely. Yeah. And I think we might make that happen soon.
That's it for the super chats for now, guys. If you want to send in a super chat, we will read them just like we read those at some point during the show. Also, if you are watching live, a lot of you are. This is our largest audience in a while, Jeff. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, Wednesday night before Game Awards, I guess.
Yeah, hit that thumbs up button if you are watching. We appreciate it. It helps even more people find the show. Jeff, what are we doing now?
We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back after this. All right, so that's for the audio listeners, everybody. Mike, do you need to use the little boys' room?
I could just jump right into it.
Okay. That's not a real break, Christian. Get the hell out.
Nice.
All right. This fucking guy.
Even yours, Nick.
Even yours. Thanks, Nick. I appreciate it. Okay, where are we going now? All right, so I guess what we'll do is we'll come back and we'll decide the Mount Rushmore of movie tie-in games. And, okay, cool. Actually, let me get it up here. There we go. Okay, everybody, we're going to bring it back here in just 1 second. There we go. All right. Mike, let's go make some decisions. We decided with the community that this week we would be looking at the Mount Rushmore of movie tie-in games. So previously we did the Mount Rushmore of video game movies. We're going in the other direction now. Movie tie-in games that represent their films really well, enough so that they're emblematic of this entire concept and can get up on that Mount Rushmore. I'm going to bring us over to the list right here so we can work on it. Okay. Yes. Does anything immediately jump out to you, or should we maybe work our way up from the other direction? Because here's what's happened the last couple of times, and it's not really been a problem. Fun discussion still happened, but we've solidified the list pretty early on with maybe one or two minor changes along the way.
Yeah. Okay. I'll say one that we have fought about before, Jeff. How about that?
Okay. I love it.
And we can get back into it. Aladdin for the Sega Genesis.
No, it's not fun.
That is such, Jeff. It is a good game. It was one of the best-selling Genesis games.
Okay, no. I mean, listen, I can probably my issue with it is that I do not enjoy playing it, But
hey, I don't like Wii Sports. Well, I wasn't here for that decision. Look, I don't like GoldenEye. We know GoldenEye is going to be on this.
Oh yeah. And I think okay. So I'm gonna set that a little bit to the side because this is not a qualitative list. This is not the things are the best. Because if it was the best, iconic.
Iconic game.
I think okay.
Man.
Is it the iconic Disney game from that era? Is it the one?
Yes. No, by far and away, it's the one. I don't think any other 16-bit.
Well, except for Aladdin for Super Nintendo. I'm just joking. I actually don't care about that. I don't care about that.
I mean, the only other one I would think of would be like Castle of Illusion, which isn't a movie tie-in necessarily. Yeah,
right.
The chat's agreeing with me. I think that it is definitely of the Disney movie tie-in games. Maybe of any, to be honest. I think it's the one you think of first. Of
movie tie-in games, no, because that's obviously GoldenEye 007.
No, I said Disney. Of Disney.
Oh, Disney. Okay, yes. Disney. That I think that's probably fair. It's not the one I think of first, but I think I'm just an outlier there because I wasn't playing on Genesis a lot then, and when I did play it, I was like, this is just kind of. But yeah, I think most people probably do think of Aladdin first. Okay, I'm putting it up there. Let's just put GoldenEye 007 up there because I just don't see any way that this isn't right next to Aladdin. It's sort of, to me, it is the first time in my life, especially in that era of like PlayStation and N64, where there were so many bad movie tie-in games, or even there weren't quite as many, but they were really cheap and bad, and they didn't know how to do 3D. And then this first-party Nintendo game came out in Nintendo 64 from Rare, and was really fun and really well done. It turned into a phenomenon, and it was something I couldn't stop playing. Yeah, I think it's got to be on there.
This is going to be interesting because there's a lot I think are going to really be fighting here. So let's say GoldenEye is the Abraham Lincoln.
Sure.
And it might be like the most important one.
Yeah.
Which one's like the most important, also first one? What's the George Washington of movie tie-in games? And I think it's Tron, right?
Tron is, I think, because like the only other one I could think of from that era or before is E.T., and that's not going up there.
Also, it has to be good. I mean, there was that Star Wars arcade game that was popular.
Yeah,
that was cool.
The Vector Graphics one
earlier than Tron, and that's important too. Maybe worth considering. But
I'm gonna put Tron up there. I don't know if Tron's gonna make the final list though, Mike.
I'm not sure either, but I think it deserves serious consideration.
Yes. How do we feel about, like, on the other side of things, going a little bit later than the early ones, when we got into GameCube, Xbox, PlayStation 2?
Yeah, there's some big, heavy hitters over there.
Yeah, let me see if I can best movie tie-in game so I can have this movie license game.
I think your gamer browser's showing, by the way.
Yeah, that's fine. We'll bounce back and forth. Everyone will get a chance to see it.
Oh, I see what's going on. You're searching, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. This is one where I'm like, it's maybe on the bubble, but I think it probably should make it, and it's only on the bubble because it's been outdone without being a movie license game. Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, that was the one I was thinking is Spider-Man 2, which was certainly from that era a big. So that one's interesting because it's a big deal because the movie was great and then the game was great, and it was the standard bearer for Spider-Man games for a very long time. Jeff, really for open world superhero games. And then kind of this other one I'm thinking of, which is a little bit later, but it's interesting because it's the movie tie-in game where the game was much better than the movie.
Yes.
Chronicles of Riddick: Escape from Butcher Bay.
Ooh, I like that. Yeah, that was like just a straight up tie-in to the movie, right? It wasn't some standalone thing in the way that because would we count Star Wars Rogue Squadron as a movie tie-in game?
That wasn't released really so like Escape from Butcher Bay is like a separate story than that game, but it came out as it was part of the promotional budget or what have you, right?
Yes, I think so. I think we can count that. I'm trying to bring the chat in here, or I'm sorry, the Discord community of our backers because they gave us some good insights, and I want to be able to read some of their input here. Let me just get that focused.
Yeah, see some interesting things in chat too here now, and Miles brought up the SpongeBob SquarePants movie game, which I know people like, but people generally like Battle from Bikini Bottom more. So
right,
they're similar, is my understanding.
So I'm gonna do Super Harmon since he talks about GoldenEye, and I think this kind of nails some of it. I'm not the biggest GoldenEye fan, but it kind of feels like it's the George Washington spot given its impact. For non-adaptations, I think Butcher Bay was not only great, but gave us a solid evolution of the first-person shooter that we continue to see the lineage of. As for out-of-the-box idea, Terminator 2, the arcade game, no idea if it holds up at all, and it's just a light gun game, but I remember it being cool as shit at the time. Yeah, I think it's...
it's cool.
It's cool. Yes.
It was, you know what? It was very present. Like, that game was everywhere.
It was everywhere. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And
but I don't know if it's quite good enough, Jeff.
Yeah, and I would, if I was like doing a movie licensed arcade game, I and this is not going to make it, but like the Star Wars trilogy arcade game from Sega with the joystick. It's good, but it's not going to play on this list. The one versus CPU says The Mummy Demastered. I doubt many people played it, but it's really good Metroidvania by Way Forward. It came out in October 2017, so it's on all current platforms. It's very reminiscent of Symphony of the Night, Area of Sorrow, and Dawn of Sorrow in structure, but it has a modern day theme, and you play as a masked SWAT guy. The weapons are all guns and grenades, so they remind me of Contra. That's I know people love
good things about this game. I almost bought it recently, and then I got distracted. It's high on my to-do list.
I'm gonna get it. Is it on? If it's on Steam, I'll get it and play on the Steam Deck.
Steam and Switch, I think.
Yeah, I'll just do that.
But I mean, it's so funny, right? They got Way Forward to make a retro Metroidvania based off that Tom Cruise Mummy reboot that nobody watched.
Yeah, how did Aria of Sorrow? Is that how you're supposed to say it? What did I say? Area of Sorrow?
You said it right.
Areola of Sorrow.
Of Sorrow.
Yeah.
That's what my pool stream was.
Very good. Grantilda's Bunzugas says Spider-Man 2, the PS1 Hagrid model. Fuck J.K. Rowling. Scott Pilgrim versus the World. That's a pretty interesting one. And GoldenEye 007, even if that game sucks ass. I like how everyone hates GoldenEye 007, but they're just like, well, we got to put it up there.
You know what? I think I said this opinion before. That Scott Pilgrim game, it's not that good. It looks really good.
Yeah.
It's not very fun to play. And I think I know a couple things about beat 'em ups, Jeff, so I feel pretty comfortable. It is one of the most egregious. You hit a person 3 times and then they're down on the ground forever. You can like maybe stomp them twice and do like the smallest amount of damage ever. It is very annoying.
I'm seeing if there's any others worth bringing up right now.
That's the Sorcerer's Stone game. PlayStation 1 isn't even the best Harry Potter game. That would be the amazing Chamber of Secrets.
Chamber of Secrets, yes. GameCube. It's very fun on there.
I've seen people bring this one up, and it's funny. I think it's a little too. I don't think it could really work. But the Ratchet and Clank
2016,
game based off the movie, like that's funny.
That's Minnesota Goldie.
Clank, though. If it somehow actually was also the best Ratchet and Clank game, then maybe. But what did Screaming Madden there say? Because I think I saw him agreeing with me on Aladdin.
Yes, I just want to point out it was Minnesota Goldie that brought up that Ratchet and Clank. Screaming Madden, GoldenEye is easily the George Washington here. It was the first huge. Oh, this is the one we oh no, okay, here I see here now. It was the first huge console first-person shooter that became a local multiplayer phenomenon in the late '90s. Disney's Aladdin, yes, Jeff, the Genesis one, is the Thomas Jefferson, as it's the third best-selling Genesis game behind Sonic 1 and 2, and a charming platforming adaptation of the film. The Abe Lincoln is Spider-Man 2, as that game practically laid the blueprint for how to sling a web in New York City that future Spidey games adopted. For Teddy Roosevelt, let's say Star Wars 1 Episode 1 Racer, as it was easily the best thing to come out of Episode 1 and was a stellar racing game.
See, Jeff, I love Episode 1 Racer. But when I think of like the Episode 1 tie-in game, and there was a lot of Episode 1 tie-in
Yeah, there was a ton.
The main one was the Episode 1 Phantom Menace tie-in game for PlayStation and PC, which is very okay. So
it's a bad game that's actually kind of fun somehow still.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a bad game that I like kind of want to play again.
Yeah. It's got a real PlayStation 1 look to it, and I enjoy that.
Has anyone else brought up Tron, or am I that old? Am I the only person who's thinking Tron?
I mean, our audience skews young, so I think you might be the only person thinking Tron. Dugan is thinking Enter the Matrix. Stands out to me as a tie-in that did it right. It was the first time I remember experiencing an expansion of a movie story in a video game. The story is the storytelling in the game also felt on par with the movie. I mean, the Wachowskis were very involved in that. They
tried very hard with that. Sorry, Jeff, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, please. I think you're going to say exactly what I was going to say, so yeah, go ahead.
I remember when that game was coming out, hype, then the game came out, and we were all like... Eh.
Yeah, I think that the history of it, or the legacy of that game being so muted, I think hurts its chances here, although it's an interesting point.
About it.
Yeah.
No one really talks about it.
What about Jamie H. Christmas Eve's? For me, it's the PlayStation 2 era Lord of the Rings games. Gameplay is still fantastic to this day, and both games were filled with tons of behind-the-scenes clips with the cast reminiscent of extras on a DVD. Those were like almost the platonic ideal of a movie tie-in game to me in some ways.
What's impressive about them is that you could have really overthought a Lord of the Rings game. Like, how do you make a Lord of the Rings game, right? They tried before. There was that weird one on Super Nintendo. It's always so complicated. And they're like, you know what? No, fuck it. It's a beat 'em up. It's a super linear beat 'em up. And it's going to be simple, but it's going to be fun. Now, that was very smart of them to do because those games are fun and they hold up well because they are simple. And it is almost just like, yeah, you're going to play a few of the highlights from the movies. That's all you want to do. That's fine. I don't know if that's good enough though to be iconic, to be emblematic, to be worthy of award, I suppose.
Yeah, I think I'm with you on that. They're very close. I think they are really good for that era of movie license games, and they stood out because so many bad movie license games were still coming at that time. But
right, that it was an awful era for that, for sure.
Yeah, is there anything recently in like because obviously Spider-Man isn't a movie license game. The Avengers, not very good, isn't. Guardians of the Galaxy doesn't count. These are all things that stand on their own. And then those are all superhero movies. Or superhero games. I'm trying to think if there's anything beyond that could even come close.
Yeah, I mean, after the 360 era, we kind of stopped. And I know one from the 360 era I've seen some people bring up is that X-Men Origins Wolverine game, which I think is another case of, I can't believe this game's actually good because that movie is shit. Now, granted,
that's going to be a big part of movie license games, but I still think we could do better than that for the Mount Rushmore.
I mean, they basically, because they were like, we're just going to take the Arkham combat and make a fun Wolverine game out of it. And they did a good job. But again, it's like, I don't know if that's quite enough for me. I liked that bad Star Trek game with the cast, but I think I really would.
You and your brother are the only people that did because you guys played it co-op and had fun. That's cheating. Bench JC does say Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga is the best movie tie-in game. It has all 9 of the major Star Wars movies in a single game, hits all the major plot points, and also shits on the sequel trilogy slightly. And I think Mario Kart 8 Deluxe should be in the Hall of Fame. We're going to talk about the Hall of Fame in a little bit. That vote's probably not going to end before this episode's done, so we'll probably have to move that till next week. But fair enough. What do you think about Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga?
I mean, I kind of discount all the Lego things. That's almost like a separate thing. You could almost do a Mount Rushmore of the Lego games, I guess.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, a lot of them weren't very timely. Some of them were. I mean, I don't know. The Skywalker Saga, I haven't played it yet. It seems like people did like it. It didn't get reviewed amazingly. The one that really seemed to matter was that first one, and that came out long enough after the prequel trilogy where it's not so much a tie-in, Jeff, as it is just adaptation to me, which is, I know, nebulous but slightly different in my mind.
Yeah, I could see them being up on the list, but it's going to be pretty hard. And I think it might be going along the same lines of what Mike was saying, where it's like they do feel different from the spirit of this slightly. They are going through a very specific formula to appeal to a specific audience, and it doesn't like the thing about a movie tie-in game. I think when we say movie tie-in, instead of just movie licensed game, it's trying to build something on the excitement that comes from a movie releasing. And the Lego Star Wars games and the Lego games in general are ones that can just stand on their own and come out whenever, as evidenced by, the Star Wars, the Skywalker Saga coming out now. It's like there was no movie coming out at that same time. It just kind of could come out whenever because it's a Lego thing and that has its own audience. So I think I agree with you. Right now, just as a recap, for the Mount Rushmore of movie tie-in games, we have, 5 up there. Aladdin, GoldenEye 007, Tron, Spider-Man 2, and Chronicles of Riddick, Escape from Butcher Bay. I think there's a few more here in the Discord. Any other ones from you, though, Mike?
There's a couple that I'm not quite sure are good enough, but I think are worth mentioning. There's Peter Jackson's King Kong, the official movie of the official game based on the movie, whatever that was called, which I think probably got some help from being a launch game and again being like surprising that was so good, but it was good. It's one that people remember. What did you think about the 2 16-bit Jurassic Park games? That's another one where people kind of have a debate on which one's better. That one I'm a bit more even keeled on. I think both the Super Nintendo top-down one with the ahead of its time SNES first-person levels is cool, but also the 16-bit Genesis just action platformer was a lot of fun too.
I haven't played much of either. The one I played the most eventually was the 3DO one that has the Velociraptor chasing you. Yeah, and it's real stupid and fun. Yeah.
I just had like a bunch of like old games turned into Jurassic Parkified. Like
yes.
Breakout. There was Galaga. Don't get mad at me.
God, I'm so mad at you though. It's so bad.
Yeah. But yeah, there's a lot. There's that Sega CD one, which is like a Myst clone too. There's a lot of Jurassic Park games.
Yes. I don't know. I don't think any of those are going to play on this list. I just think that from that era, they're no Aladdin. I'll say at the very least.
No.
Let's see. From Brian, I'd like to offer 2 games, both fighting games. Street Fighter the movie, the game, and Shrek Super Slam on the basis that they both have risen above the franchises that spawned them and continue to see competitive play to this day due to their wacky gameplay. And if you really want to have a fun time, look up their tier list for both. All right.
Do you know I played Shrek Super Slam recently, and like I bought that game.
And you like it?
I was like, oh, this is gonna be a fun, stupid joke. That game's pretty good. That's a fun game.
That's fun.
I don't know if it's good enough. I don't know if I always did. I think back when Street Fighter the movie, the game came out, I also rolled my eyes at it. But when I play it now, I'm like, this is kind of charming. I kind of like this now. This is fun. Good enough.
The Incredible Hulk Ultimate Destruction. I don't know if that counts.
I don't think that's a tie-in. I think that was just based off the comic.
Yeah, because there was a movie coming out around that time, but they're not trying to be. Was that the Edward Norton one? I don't even remember. It's 2005.
That would have been that first one. That would have been the Ang Lee one.
I guess, and it feels like it's even. Feels like it's even a little bit after that Ang Lee one. A couple of years.
Been. Yeah, because that was like 2003. So I think it really did just kind of happen without a movie coming out.
I really like that game, but I don't think it's going to go up there.
It counts.
Alien Isolation.
This is just like a game based off a franchise, and there's like other ones of those, like Indiana Jones: Fate of Atlantis is another one I would consider like that. It's not really a tie-in, like coming out with the game. Now, granted, you can maybe say that about GoldenEye, because GoldenEye just took so long that it came out 2 years after that movie came out. But that is such a specific. That is a adaptation of the movie that just kind of got delayed a bit, so that one seems safe to me. But not Alien Isolation.
Let's see what this website 1:37 p.m. has to say. I wonder if that's a reference to something that Hitler said. That's what it feels like. 1:37 p.m. It feels like
There's that Scott Pilgrim game that is not as good as people think it is.
Ghostbusters, the video game remastered. I like that. Yeah.
But also, that's more, again, like just a game based on a franchise than a movie tie-in. There was no Ghostbuster game coming out then.
Yeah, and Batman Arkham Asylum it's not meeting our criteria. Chronicles of Riddick, Escape from Butcher Bay in the top 4. I definitely feel that one. These ones, this is just general licensed ones though. Friday the 13th, the game. None of those asymmetric multiplayer ones are actually gonna do anything for me.
There's a zillion of those. Did people play that Ghostbusters one? That came out, right?
The new one? Yeah, it came out. No, I don't think not many people played it. No.
I wonder if you think that's done? Are we done with that? Doing that whole just turn any franchise? You think that the what's that one that happened that you actually like heard about first? The Clowns from Outer Space? Is that
Killer Clowns from Outer Space? I bet that probably still comes out. Yeah, I think people keep trying it. It seems like a relatively cheap genre to work in, so I think that's why we're getting a lot of them. Mad Max. It's just I never played this one. I know some people have a soft spot for this one, but I don't know.
Yeah, Mad Max. That game's good, but it's also weird because it's not actually the movie. It's like its own version. I don't know. It's again, its status as a tie-in is kind of weird. But even if it wasn't, I don't think it's as good as these other ones. Rhyming Bectionary said the only good thing to come out of X-Men Origins Wolverine was the game. This is in a super chat. Plus, it's the only Wolverine game that lets you really mess bad guys up. For that alone, it should be considered. Yeah, that one probably deserves a bit more consideration than we're getting it. I just don't know if Jeff and I are like people who really played that game a lot.
I did, and I liked it. I just don't X-Men Origins Wolverine. I just here's where I'm at with the list. So we're doing Mount Rushmore. There's going to be 4. I think we probably are doing Aladdin, GoldenEye 007, Spider-Man 2, and Chronicles of Riddick: Escape from Butcher Bay. Tron gets dropped, and I think Tron goes up before X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Right. Yeah. God, does Tron get dropped? That's rough. This is.
I know it's rough. We could talk it out. That is not me finalizing the list in any way, shape, or form. Let me just mention a couple others from the screen rant. Yeah, Toy Story 3 is one that I know kids have really liked, but it came out in late in the Xbox 360 generation, like at a point when there were so many games that it was easy for most people to ignore it, unless you were just a kid at that time. I think kids probably hold it in high regard, but it didn't take over the world in the way it probably needed to make this list.
Yeah, I remember the Toy Story 2 game was actually really well liked, and people talk about that one a lot again. But still, it's just like, oh, this is actually a good collectathon 3D platformer on the PlayStation Nintendo 64 era. Again, I don't think that's quite enough.
I did see someone mention Cars 3 Driven to Win.
I reviewed that. I think I reviewed Cars 2.
All right, let's go back here.
Yeah. So, I don't know about that.
Let me fix this.
Yeah, we're kind of...
Yeah, we're a little off kilter there. There we go. Okay. All right, Mike. So, unless we get any other Hail Marys out here.
Dominic Malta said Predator Concrete Jungle needs to go on there. I don't think I've ever played that game.
It's another one of those asymmetric multiplayer games. Yeah. Where
really?
One person plays as the predator, everyone else plays as the team trying to hunt the predator. Yeah, it's I guess the predator's obviously hunting them, but I don't know, if we were putting an asymmetric multiplayer, one of those up there, it probably would be Friday the 13th. I think maybe it's hard to say, but none of them are going up there. Mike, do you want to talk out Tron versus making the list versus not making the list?
Yeah, I guess I like that. To me, that is just one of the.
Oh, is that a different Predator game? All right, fair enough, Beef Hammer. I don't know. I can't keep all the Predator games straight anymore.
Yeah. The only one I liked was Alien vs. Predator 2. That game ruled. I don't know. Tron just happens to be like my favorite arcade game, especially at the classic. I mean, like the classic arcade games, right? Like if I'm gonna have a Pac-Man or an Alien Invaders or Donkey Kong, I want a Tron. And, it was just so cool how Disney made this game about arcade games, and then they made the arcade game tie-in, and it was this really fun arcade game. Now, it is an old school as hell arcade game, but it was neat because it was 4 different games. You had to play them all, and they each played well, and it just had this... I always hate when I say something has a vibe. That's my excuse for why it's good, but it did have a vibe.
It did, and at a time when it was difficult for a game to have a vibe, it definitely did.
And I guess part of me is like, because movie tie-ins go back so long, part of me is like, we need to have something from that era. Maybe we don't.
Maybe we could have the conversation between Chronicles of Riddick, Escape from Butcher Bay, and Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, because those two are kind of overlapping, but man, those are both. But again, Chronicles of Riddick's thing is that it's emblematic of the one that's the one where that really rose above the original movie. And I know there's a couple other ones, and that's probably why X-Men Origins Wolverine won't make it. Because Riddick does that same thing, but better.
But better. Yes, and has had a much longer lineage. Like as one of the community members in the Discord, one of the premium supporters mentioned, there are a lot of games that are still aping what Chronicles of Riddick did, and X-Men Origins Wolverine was another entry in that character action genre.
How about this? Because maybe we can't have 2 Disney things, probably Tron and Aladdin. Could we? And again, it's not.
It wasn't Disney when it came out, right? Or no, it very much was, wasn't it? Tron was very much Disney. Yes, yes, it was.
All the way through. Why don't we do a poll, Aladdin and Tron? Because I'm curious.
Okay. All right. Well, let me end this poll.
Aladdin, make sure
just to let the audio listeners know, 78% of the respondents in our poll know who Mr. Magoo is. So
good to know.
If you're one of the good guys who knew, you're in good company. All right. I'm creating a poll right now, Mike.
Yeah, but I definitely think GoldenEye 007 and actually Escape from Butcher Bay are super safe. They're very safe.
Tron. I think I'll do this one in the YouTube chat. In the future, when we go to polls, I might actually just do them in the Discord and have people who are premium members vote only. But we can figure that out for next week. Austin A says Jaws for NES. I love that game.
There's a lot of like NES movie tie games that are kind of fun. Like somebody said Friday the 13th. Austin A said that. It's like, yeah, I know people like that one. There's a bunch of those. Like, oh, this game's not bad. I even like that Rocketeer game for the NES, fine. But I don't know if none of them are quite good enough. I think Aladdin kind of covers the 8-bit and 16-bit era of movie licensed tie-in games.
Yeah, I agree. I think this was actually going to be pretty much a easy win for one of these. While that poll is happening, let me read through some of these other ones. I don't know if I read the Uncharted Wolves. Spider-Man 2 on the PS2 is one of the most iconic licensed games of all time, let alone movie tie-ins. When Spider-Man 2018 was coming out, I asked my friend what he wanted from it, to which he replied, Spider-Man 2 with more graphics and less balloons. That alone speaks to this game's legacy. As for feedback, let's say, okay, I'll read the feedback one later. Uncharted Wolf, thank you. I will. He says do fewer Mount Rushmore topics in a row. And we just did like 3 in a row, but hey, this is the way it's got to go.
We disregard this feedback. Well, I think the Mount Rushmore works better than a tier list on a podcast. I do think somebody said we should do like an either or thing. Like for example, we could have just the big Aladdin SNES and Aladdin Genesis debate, and we can have people like kind of vote to take a side at the end there and decide it. That's something we can maybe do next time.
Yeah, well,
not necessarily Aladdin, but you know.
Yeah, and if I had infinite time to work on the show, it would be a lot more like rapid fire. You and I disagreeing on a bunch of stuff from the news and from gaming's history. A lot more like PTI, but this show doesn't have a full-time producer to help put that stuff together, so it's kind of hard.
We usually agree because we're usually.
It's true. That's a good point. I think
you're unnecessarily harsh on yourself there, Jeff. I think everything's great.
Well, it's not that it's not great. It's just like I wish I had more time to put like a lot more of these topics together. But so far we've taken these topics all from the community, and they've been great. But it's like, the good ones are coming from Mount Rushmore's right now. And if people have other ideas, I would definitely want to see them. If you have an out there idea, and I put out the feelers a couple times, if you want to like give us a quiz that me and Mike can sort of just do, not like a full on Jeopardy thing, just like a fun little thing where you try to stump us, or Player One Podcast does this fun thing where they blank out a bunch of the identifying markers from like an old review. And they go, this blank had weird controls on the 3DO, and like we try to use context clues to figure out what that game is. If you want to do stuff like that, we'll do that. And I think that'd be a good thing for these kinds of segments in the future. But I want to get input from the podcast producers who have been very helpful. Going back to a Spider-Man 2 comment, though, I think enjoy Spider-Man 2 more than Spider-Man 2018. Just because I think it's pretty much the good parts are pretty much exactly the same, and I think there's less fluff to get in the way in 2018. Now, Miles Morales obviously is better in every way because it just really narrows it down and goes right to the good stuff. But yeah, that's how good Spider-Man 2 was.
I'm not sure if I agree. I will say, like, Spider-Man 2018, it was almost kind of a hard game to go back and replay because then it's like, look, I don't actually care about all of this story stuff again. It was fine the first time. I'm like, can you just actually like push a button and just unlock everything in the open world again for me? And I can go around and start doing that.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Keywork said Chronicles of Riddick Escape from Butcher Bay. I don't know if it holds up today, but holy shit, it was an amazing game on the OG Xbox. Graphics were great, and it had a great vibe.
Yeah, where did that even come from, right? We were still trying to figure out how that happened, how that game was good.
And a lot of those people that worked on that game now working on Indiana Jones at Machine Games. Also, Dark Horse picked, depending on how loose tie-in games are, Lego Dimensions. Hear me out. Beetlejuice, Batman, Lord of the Rings, Wizard of Oz. It goes on. There's Goonies and stuff in there.
That's a little too loose for me.
Ed likes Toy Story 2, Buzz Lightyear to the Rescue, a game that has been playable on every PlayStation console, if my research is correct. A true classic. I wonder which, my kids like Toy Story 3. I wonder if they could go back to Toy Story 2 and enjoy it.
It's definitely a PlayStation 1 game still, so I don't know.
Yeah, it's tough. It's always tough to say with those because they can be fun, but if it's for 5 and 3, you kind of also need to be able to just wander around and do whatever you want. And those older games don't support that very often. Plain Shane, I feel like this is a category scarcely populated with stars worthy of Mount Rushmore. Out of everything I read,
Shane's young.
Yeah, that's going to cause problems. Out of everything I read from others' posts, GoldenEye is the biggest hit I remember seeing and enjoying. Also, Mission Impossible 64. I played a Spider-Man game on the original Xbox that was good at the time, but I'm not sure which one it was. It was probably Spider-Man 2.
It was Spider-Man 2.
Yeah,
certainly. Although the first Spider-Man, the Spider-Man 1 movie game was also like pretty good.
It was good, just didn't have the swinging.
2 blew it out of the water. Like that was just basically making the other Spider-Man games from PlayStation 1 with slightly better graphics.
Yep. Let's see. There was a few others in from MDY. We're back. A dinosaur story released on the original Game Boy. A faithful to the original film.
Does that have a game?
A side-scrolling action game that puts on its best Mario effort, but all themed around dinosaurs. We should play that on stream sometime.
Yeah, that's incredible. Jeff, Aladdin is trouncing Tron 74% to 26%.
Fair enough. Okay, so
we do that. And I'll concede Tron then. That's fine. I think that forward. I think it's pretty strong.
let me move X-Men Origins Wolverine down. That seems fair. Let me move this over so people can see that. And then let me move Spider-Man 2 up. So the Mount Rushmore of movie tie-in games. Is this the final list, Mike?
That looks really good to me, Jeff. I think everything here is representing, like, GoldenEye is just GoldenEye.
Right. That's the one I was certain of coming in. And then when I thought about Spider-Man 2, I was also pretty certain of. And then I just, because I forgot about Aladdin. And you're right. I think now this is how these lists go. There's 3 sure things. And then there's got to be kind of that wild card. And I think Chronicles of Riddick Escape from Butcher Bay is probably our best wild card selection so far for a Mount Rushmore, where that one definitely deserves to be up there. And there's probably not much of an argument against it from anyone.
No,
so.
I think this might be. I don't think the last list was too controversial either. I can't imagine this one's gonna be too controversial.
Yes, absolutely. All right, so that again, that final list is the Mount Rushmore of movie tie-in games with Aladdin, GoldenEye 007, Spider-Man 2, and Chronicles of Riddick Escape from Butcher Bay. All right, there we go.
With Tron and X-Men Origins Wolverine being the most prominent runner-ups.
Yes, absolutely. And then the Battle for Naboo on Nintendo 64.
Holy shit.
Okay, here's where we would normally do the Game Mess Decides Hall of Fame, but as we were deciding when we were going to do this episode yesterday, I set the poll length for 1 day, so it's not going to be finished until after we end this episode tonight. But if you want to go vote, if you're listening live, you can go vote right now. We did racing games as a genre. Someone suggested, instead of just picking any game out of nowhere and just having sort of disparate games compete, we should focus all 4 games on a genre. So me and Mike both picked 2 racing games. We won't say which ones were which, but it was Daytona USA. Let's see. Let me actually bring this up real quick. Let me go back here. Mike, if you remember them.
I do. Daytona USA, Ridge Racer Type 4, Mario Kart 8.
Yes.
And one of us picked another one.
I was trying to avoid that very specific
thing. Who could have
thing.
picked Ridge Racer Type 4? Right? Who won't shut up about that fucking game?
It's all up here. I got it right here. There we go. F-Zero GX.
F-Zero GX.
Yeah.
That's it.
I think that's a pretty good. It's a stacked thing as always. The Hall of Fame is going to be that way. The Hall of Fame so far is Super Metroid, Metal Gear Solid, Street Fighter 2, and Super Mario Brothers. Right. So
yes.
we have those 4 games. We're going to keep expanding it weekly for now, or kind of weekly-ish as we go through the end of the year. But that brings me, Mike, to the end of the year. What do you want to do for Game of the Year?
What do we want to do? Because you have to. Giant Bomb does a big Game of the Year thing.
Next week we're doing our Game of the Year over there, and I'll be talking it out, and yeah, we're going to be doing a big thing for it. So, I think we should definitely bring our personal lists and talk them out. Maybe we can reveal them one by one.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
And then, do we want to have the community vote on their Game of the Year? We did that before. Maybe I can make a quick little sort of.
Maybe even for 1 week we can bring back just community right in. We'll ask people what their Game of the Year is.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Okay, yes, that's so. Our Game of the Year episode, which we'll do at some point near the end of this month.
It's got to be a little bit later because I need to play River City Girls too.
Yes, we'll do it. We'll do this like at the very end of this month or early next month. We'll just do it as a write-in episode where you tell us what your Game of the Year is and we'll read it. And then we'll do a little voting thing, and we'll have everybody try to vote on the official Game Mess Decides Community Game of the Year. All right, Mike, what have you been playing?
I've been playing. Wait, I am allowed to talk about this, right? Everybody else put their things up today about Diablo IV, right? Yes.
I think so. Yeah.
There was it was a little weird for me because I think a lot of people had a good amount of time to play Diablo IV, and most of that was when I was on vacation, so I got to play for a day. So I didn't write like a full preview or anything, Jeff. I really just got to play for a couple of hours of Diablo 4. But I liked those couple of hours quite a bit. It certainly is ticking all the boxes that I think I needed out of a Diablo 4. In terms of, Diablo 3 did figure out a lot of things pretty well on the gameplay front, especially towards the end there. And a lot of that still just feels good here. but really actually making things kind of just making things actually a little bit darker, a little bit scary again. Not trying to be edgy or anything like that.
Right.
And like, how scary can it really be sometimes? But making it feel a bit more like Resident Evil 8 and less like Resident Evil 5. You know what I mean? And Diablo 3 had that problem where it was like Pixar scary sometimes.
Yes, and it's like, I mean, Diablo 3 had everything else going for it after a while, after some updates, after some changes. But in the end, it had everything else going for it, except for, that style was a deliberate choice in a different direction than Diablo 2. So it's like, it is nice to see them going, and it sounds like it's working, according to a lot of the previews. People like the way it looks and the way it presents itself as a kind of a deep, dank, scary looking thing.
Yeah, and like you have talent trees, and I think that it's funny how talent trees are back in a big way, right? Everybody was kind of like getting away from that.
Yeah.
Now it's like, no, talent trees are in, because Dragonflight's doing the same thing, and everybody's happy. Maybe in 10 years we'll be going away from talent trees. It's a circle, but yeah, like right now I like having that stuff in there. The character, I was playing a rogue, and it felt good. It was all making a lot of sense. There was a nice cadence to the fighting. Yeah, it's just, it's feeling like it's kind of scratching that Diablo 2 itch, and that's still my favorite, but still with enough of the kind of Diablo 3 quality of life improvements that feel nice. There's a lot of story, which it's, that's fine. It's been relatively well done. The kind of thing here is that the camera can really pull in now, so at least it's not just constantly talking portrait heads like in Diablo 3. So presentation-wise, that's a pretty big boost.
That's cool, actually. That right. Seems like it'd be pretty dynamic for a game like that.
Right, and you have like some actual, like, they can do in-engine cutscenes now, so it's not like, oh well, it's either we had to spend $1 zillion making a CG thing. We're only going to play one of those at the start of an act, or we can actually do some cool story sequences in the middle here. It's rather than just like Deckard Cain gets shot by like a magic bolt and dies forever, and it looks cheesy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, just Diablo games are fun. I like Diablo, man. I have a good times going around, clicking things, getting my loot. It is just at its core a game that speaks to me.
Yeah, and like I was saying on the Game Us Mornings today, for people who listen to that, those games have figured out couch co-op to a point where I know that the next one is supposed to launch just out of the gate with that stuff ready to go. And yeah, give that to me. Those are great couch co-op games. So I'm ready to go into Diablo 4 and do exactly that, and just have a night where, I drink a bunch of Coke Zero and play that game all night. I want to do it. So looking forward to it.
I'm feeling pretty optimistic about it.
It's what was the date on that again? Did they give like the official date, or is there just a leaked date?
I think that's another one where there's some speculation going on, and I don't want to say anything because for all I know they sent me it and it's under embargo or something. But I don't know.
Totally fair. But it is another one of those 2023 games. You know what? It's one of those games that Activision Blizzard's trying to sort of nudge out a little bit earlier through a lot of tests and getting buzz going, and obviously this is part of that. So I bet you'll be able to play it here pretty soon. Let's see. I've been playing The Case of the Golden Idol. I just want to talk about this one real quick. This is a murder mystery game, and obviously the big comparison point is Return of the Obra Dinn. These are in the Case of the Golden Idol. These are static scenes where all of the players in the scene, all the potential murderers and all the victims and all of their stuff, they're frozen in time, and you need to look at all of their objects. You need to look at all of them, and you need to look at the environment to collect all of the puzzle pieces and all the evidence to be able to then put the puzzle together. And really what it is a combination of the logic of like a Sudoku, where you need to find where these things intersect and look at logically how if this thing is over there and this thing is here, then this third thing must be here, and that means this person could not have been the murderer, so I have eliminated them. And that's, if that sounds like one of those dinner table puzzle things where it's like, this person can't eat meat, and they don't want to be next to a person who is eating meat, and this person is eating meat, so they can't sit here. Like, who was sitting where at the table? There is literally a scene that has you solve that exact puzzle. But it's that stuff gets me, and this game kind of complicates it a little bit by letting you go and finding all of those clues yourself instead of just giving it to you in a bunch of paragraphs. And it's so super satisfying to poke around in this world and look at something and know that the way that the game is presenting it matters because they need to be accurate because it can't just be thrown together. So if you notice a detail, that detail almost certainly will play into the logic of solving the puzzle. For example, there was one, I'll just spoil this one a little tiny bit. There was a window that was broken in the room where a person was murdered. But when you look out, you saw a guy out there, and the guy is one of these night watchmen. He's ringing the bell. He's like, someone broke into that window and like climbed in there. But if you look down, you could see that behind him, there were only footsteps leading up to where that guy walked. There are no other footsteps in the snow. So no one actually did jump down there. Someone just broke that window and opened it up and left it open to make it look like someone came in through that window. And if you look up, there's a trap door above you, and that's actually where maybe someone came in that way instead.
Columbling the shit out of this.
It is. You feel very much like Columbo. You're supposed to notice details like Columbo. It is fantastic. It is so good. I'm through like 6 or 7 scenes now. They are getting progressively more difficult, but it's not. It also feels like everything's right there. I know it's all. I have all the pieces. I should be able to put it together, and I'm not like using the hint system. There is a hint system, but I'm not using it because I feel like eventually if I just keep poking and prodding, I'll get it. And so far that's been the case. And boy, it's just satisfying. It's easily going to be in my top 5 games of the year. I love these kinds of games. I loved Return of the Obra Dinn. I think about Return of the Obra Dinn all the time. This is the first game
that I never got around to, and I feel like I'm not going to get around to this one either.
That's I totally understand. Honestly, I mean, you could try the first one and just see if it clicks, but no, it's fine. But this is the first game since Return of the Obra Dinn that comes anywhere near close capturing it, and it's very close. It kind of just cuts right to the good stuff, where it's like, here's the static scene, and here's the next one. Go solve these puzzles. It's really, really good. You've been playing a few other things, though, Mike. What else you been getting into?
Well, there's another game you told me about that you were playing that I did jump onto, and that's Kiwi 64.
You did it!
It was $3, and I'll start. You know why I like this one, Jeff? And I talked before about how some of these other indie 3D platformers I can't get into as much as I want to, like I had in time, like Team and Turf. This game just starts. It just goes.
It doesn't
have a story. It doesn't have. It's funny that everybody like we're gonna make something inspired by Banjo-Kazooie, and what they think that means is there's gonna be a lot of animals talking to each other.
Yes.
Like,
and I bet at the time kids who were, I guess, maybe just learning to read and kind of or whatever, they like, maybe they really do have an affinity for that stuff. That stuff actually sucks. Just let me play the game. That's really a really good platformer, and this game does that.
Right, this doesn't even have tutorials. It's like, look, yeah, you have like 5 moves you can do. You'll figure it out.
There's no character progression. You just have those moves right away. They're all really good. They all feel like the most powerful versions of themselves. Mm-hmm. It's really good. So yeah, you said you've played a lot of these 3D platformers that are inspired by N64 and PlayStation games. Does this one like live up to that legacy in any real way?
Well, you know, it's definitely, I don't know if lesser's the word. It definitely isn't of that stature of like an
absolutely not.
Or
yes,
like, of course, but it feels almost as good. Like the platforming feels very strong, and that is like kind of the hardest thing to do. And there's it benefits it that it does. It's very smart about being simple. The levels are of a very certain scale, which again I like. I'm glad that they aren't these giant sprawling kind of Banjo-Tooie style levels where they're just too big, and it's actually really hard to design that stuff. It turns out, no, you have like these bite-sized levels. There's 2 things to collect in all of them. Go and collect them. It just works really well. It's very snappy. I don't know how long it is, but for $3, it's pretty hard to imagine going wrong if you are a fan of 3D platformers.
Yeah, I played a Short Hike, and that's one I probably paid 6, 7. I have no idea. I paid a few bucks for that one, and that's like 45 minutes, and it's a pretty good like chunk, a small little slice of a Mario 64, like I guess, with a few other things thrown in there. And I love a Short Hike. I'll play that all the time, and I love it. And it doesn't need to be longer than 45 minutes. The first time I played it, I'm like, oh, that really was it. Okay. Now I'm just like, oh, I could just play that whenever and finish it really quickly. Super Kiwi 64 being $3, being significantly longer than the Short Hike. I've definitely already played it for longer than 45 minutes. That's really impressive. I'm really happy with it. It's a good game.
So it already had the Jeff Grubb recommendation. It's got the Mikey recommendation too.
And it's such an easy one to recommend at $3. It's so easy.
And I'm playing on Switch, and it runs perfect on Switch. So
great.
Just get it on your Switch.
I honestly might buy it again.
Yeah, great. But also, Jeff, Dragonflight, that World War II expansion, it came out while I was away. And like as I was away and not able to play it, I was just noticing how everybody seemed happy. Which
That's
for
weird.
The World of Warcraft community is so weird, Jeff.
This is the one where it's just like, go fight a bad guy, right? They like really tone down the bullshit.
It's almost like when I'm talking about this, it's just like, hey, the dragons went back to their islands. You're gonna go too. They have some problems. Go help them. But mostly, it's like go to their beautiful land and do some high fantasy shit. It's gonna be really pretty, and you're gonna fight things with magic, and you're gonna have a good time. And it's just, yes, that's all I needed. Like, I don't need to go to hell and the 5 super hells below it, and like all that bullshit from the last. And like, in the meantime, we're gonna introduce you to 20 different subsystems of bullshit you have to do. Like, there's the one new system here is a gameplay mechanic. It's this dragon riding thing where basically instead of like the old flying, which was literally just like point and click and go, like fly anywhere. It's now like Mario 64 style. Like there's kind of like you have to like angle yourself to get momentum. You have like you have a stamina thing, so you can only flap up so often. And so they turned traversal into a game, and now it's great. It's fun. It's super like dynamic. It's super visceral. Like the sound effects and just like the speed of it feels incredible. And there's like little glyphs that you can collect as you're flying around for unlockables. To help like customize your dragon. It is all working really well. I'm still just leveling through it, so I'm not sure about end game stuff right now. Definitely the best leveling experience since at least Legion. And again, the vibe. There's the vibe again. The best vibe I've gotten from an expansion in like a very long time. Maybe like vibe wise, my favorite expansion. Like hell yeah, just high fantasy dragon shit. That's what I like. That's what I want. Like the one zone right now. It's like I'm kind of like in like the steppes. It's actually very reminiscent of a zone from Final Fantasy 14 Shadowbringers, where I'm in a steppe and there's all these different kind of like tribes and groups, and like I'm learning about their intrigues and their kind of there's some infighting, and I'm like traveling with them. I'm like, yeah, this is good. That's great.
And
I don't need.
It probably helps in a massively multiplayer online game that people are happy with it, right? Like that.
Oh yeah, it's funny how it is a thing, but the community vibe, even if you don't agree with it, it has a big impact on these things. I mean, we talked about that with Halo. Me and you liked Halo Infinite.
Absolutely.
After a while, so many other people didn't like it. That's just kind of a bummer.
Yep, and it's hard to undo that, and it requires a big effort to get to that point, and it seems like Dragonflight is exactly that, or at least it was a very well targeted effort where like they put all of their they put all their pieces in the right place here to win over a lot of people like you. So that's impressive. I've seen a lot of people playing. A lot of people who I know are big into WoW and might have been playing Final Fantasy 14. I've seen them playing this, so it seems like people are happy.
And I'll be happy if for the rest of the time, like if WoW is good again and stays good, it's like all right, every other year, here's the WoW expansion, here's the Final Fantasy 14 expansion, and I'll be kind of good in my MMO land doing that stuff.
Yep, I'm happy for you, Mike. I'm glad to hear it. Anything else?
Isn't it weird, though, that I also still feel kind of guilty? Like, this podcast is talking about how good Blizzard games are again already. It's like we wagged our finger at them for a bit, and now I'm like, but that's okay, because their stuff's fun. Like,
I mean...
kind of bad.
Yeah, it's... There's no excuse, but also there's no ethical consumption under capitalism, but does that give us the right to go do whatever we want? I know that I'm still not feeling great about going and playing that Harry Potter game, sort of no matter how good or bad it is, whatever. And that's just like a personal thing at this point. I think it's been tainted too much by J.K. Rowling. You know me, Mike. I'm not telling people to go vote with their wallet. That is not where I'm at with that stuff. If you want to play a game and also criticize the people who made that game, we're capable of doing both. And honestly, it might be more effective if you speak out as a fan. So, yeah. Mike, I had something. Oh, the super chats. I think we got a handful more. Do you want to read some of those?
Oh, yes, we did. Let's see here now. Special Nick said, wait, you'll even read mine? Talk about super chats. And yes, Nick, we will. Dr. Butthugger says, which you'd prefer, G4ia or Spike TV Game Awards? Wait, what's G4ia?
Oh, you gotta watch G4ia. Man, I wish we had time to watch to react to G4ia before the thing tomorrow. You should watch it though. It's incredible. It's like one of those early award shows, and if you watch the credits of it, there is listed as the game master is a little 12-year-old Jeff Keighley, little baby Jeff Keighley.
God,
yeah.
wow. He's been in this game a long time.
He's been doing it from the beginning. Yep.
Yeah. Spike TV Game Awards was the one that gave a Madden game of the year that one time, right?
Is that right? God, that's probably right. Yeah, I'm sure that is. Jesus.
Austin A says, did Jim Ryan screw up by going after Call of Duty exclusivity when Game Pass inclusion is the real business threat to Sony?
I think we'll be able to do a better analysis of this once everything has come to pass and we see what regulators actually did care about. We'll be able to play Monday morning quarterback with this stuff. Right now, it does feel like this was the wrong strategy from Sony. But that might just be because this is the best one they had and it still kind of stunk. And they didn't have any other options. They spent a lot of money on lawyers, so I'm like hesitant to be like, yeah, I know better than them. But you know, this is game stuff. Maybe we do know better than them. We've been proven a lot of times that we do know better than lawyers in many cases about this stuff. But I bet when we look at this, the very expensive legal team looked at all their options. It was like, we got it. I mean, listen, we might look a little bit foolish, but we got to take the risk that, or we have to take the chance that regulators will take us seriously, even if we know deep down we're not all that serious about the criticisms that we're making.
A couple more here. Jedi Moss says, is the reason movie tie-ins are virtually gone now is that it's not possible to rush through a game in time? Games take so much longer to make than movies. I think that's certainly part of it. It also is just
expensive.
Yeah, it's getting harder. You know, I feel like the real death now for this was like some of those early MCU games, like that Iron Man game by Sega. Captain America game by Sega. It's like, you know, it used to be you at least make some money on these things, like, no matter what, and then it just became clear, like, not really. And then if you spent the same amount of money on a mobile game, you could make a lot of money. Well, yeah, and these other avenues opened, like mobile, like just make the Lego game, or now like just put your fucking character in Fortnite. That's what you actually want to do. Yeah, Gamefire Cribber says in chat, basically, high risk, low reward. That's obviously been the case for licensed games, period, kind of across the board. Although publishers keep going back to licensed games. We see after Square Enix, EA is going to Marvel licensed games. We'll see how that works out for them. Then the Charwolf says, any tips for reading more books? Been wanting to. My tip is to not read them and to listen to audiobooks in bed every night. Because, you know, it's bad to like watch stuff or play games in bed too much because it stimulates you too much. Listening to an audiobook doesn't hurt you. There's like a lot of good settings too, so that you can stop it every 10 minutes, so you can make sure that if you fall asleep during it, you're not going to skip too far ahead. And if it does go off, you can just push a button and keep it playing. I've been listening to a lot of audiobooks now, Jeff. Yeah, I've had to switch to audiobooks almost exclusively. I don't know what it is. It's definitely just being very busy, but I also think I'm a little bit more scatterbrained these days. A big part of it's probably just not getting enough sleep after years with kids. When I try to sit down with a book, I either fall asleep or I just feel like I can't concentrate. So my go-to answer to all questions like this is give yourself permission to consume these books any way that makes sense for you. Me and Mike both listen to a lot of audiobooks. I would get Libby. I mean, I don't know where you're at, Uncharted Wolf, but here we have Libby, which is public libraries are able to get audiobooks, put them up on the internet through an app, and you could borrow those audiobooks. You know, one person at a time could borrow them. You'll have to wait in line sometime, wait in a queue. But you can borrow an audiobook and just listen to it for free. I also have Audible and things like that, but it's like, you know, that's one credit per month. And I think I'm at a point where I'm like listening to about one audiobook every 2 weeks ish, depending on how long it is. And that's way more than I was able to read before I gave myself permission to say, I'm not going to try to read them. I love reading. I wish I could read, but no, I'm going to just be listening to these books. And in the end, I get the same value out of one or the other. Or even if I do get less value out of listening to audiobook, which I don't believe, it still is better than not reading at all. The other thing, one I had to learn a long time ago, was to actually keep trying things I like more, because I used to not really read as much, and it's because I kept trying to read fantasy and sci-fi, because I was like, well, I'm a nerd. I need to read The Name of the Wind, all this other shit people are talking about. Then I would read Name of the Wind, I'd be like, this fucking sucked. I didn't like this. Yeah. And finally, I was like, it turns out that stuff's just not for me. Really, if you're interested about a subject, go look up the best books on it and read that. Yeah. You'll have much better luck. When I started just like listening to random economics books, I was like, this is fantastic. I'm just like learning so much. I love that. I listen to a lot of nonfiction books, although I've started getting back into fiction a little bit. Mostly it's just like Star Wars books, which is... I think my last 3 or 4 books have been like about proto or like other humanoid species like Neanderthals and shit. For some reason, that's
Yeah.
the train I'm on right now.
I love that shit too. Those are good. Give me some Rex when we're done here, Mike. Any other super chats?
I think that's it. I think we are caught up, and that might be that. Man, Jeff, do you believe the Game Awards are tomorrow? What's winning game of the year, Jeff?
Elden Ring. Elden Ring's winning game of the year. I think that. I mean, I won't be surprised if God of War wins. Of course, it could win.
A little surprised. I guess I'd be a little surprised, but wouldn't be a big shock.
It just Elden Ring is the one that deserves it the most. It really does. It's a very, very, very good game. What else do you think? And any other surprises for tomorrow, whether it's winners or announcements?
No, I just can't think. It's just too many possibilities. And I don't know why. Like I default to maybe it's not gonna be that great. Like Summer Game Fest, the presentation wasn't very good. The show was actually fun, but I don't know. I wonder if we're suddenly at a point where, compared to 6 months ago, there wasn't that much to talk about. Is there suddenly a lot to talk about right now that people specifically want to talk about at the Game Awards in terms of new things? Again, release dates.
I think some companies are still going to be in that dormant state, but you never know when one's going to pop up and just be like, hey, well, yeah, we can announce the 3 things at the Game Awards. Or even like a couple big, like one big one from Sony and one big one from Nintendo can make the whole night, right?
Yeah.
Kind of surprises out of nowhere. You know, if Capcom is like bringing back a Dino Crisis, like that would get a lot of buzz. Those things go a long way, and it doesn't matter what the final game ends up being. It's just like, oh, that big thing got announced, and I cared in that moment because it was a surprise. So we'll see. I just hope he does a good job of keeping things moving, and we don't get too bogged down in sponsored content for weird Chinese games. And if it's a weird Chinese game, I hope it's one of the really weird ones where it's like it's a Pokemon game, but the Pokemons have guns and hot babes.
The Shadow the Hedgehog of Pokemon games.
Exactly. So, and like there's a cow conveyor belt that turns them instantly into soup. There's really a game like that. And it was at a Jeff Keighley thing before. So
Let's see, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, there's just really a game that's exactly that. Yeah. Mike, let's wrap this up. We do have the Game Awards tomorrow. I'll be reacting to that live over on Giant Bomb. You're going to be covering it for work, I'm betting. You're going to be writing some stories.
Yeah. Dean and Jordan are attending live, so Rachel and I will be on the home front here covering it. Yep. My brothers love to come here and watch it, and a couple of my friends every time. I'm like, guys, I can't watch it with you. Like, it's all right. So they have fun. They basically party in my house away from their families while I'm in here working.
I remember like when it was Final Fantasy 14-1, they like broke in
and start cheering.
Yeah, that was great. All right, Mike, why don't you tell people where they can find you on the internet?
On Twitter and Twitch at Tolkodo. There it is. We just got that 100.
Thanks, everybody. I really appreciate that.
But yeah, I think that's it. We'll be back. I don't know. I guess Tuesday, maybe Monday. I'll be on Game Master Decides. It's been a bit.
Hey, Mike, come on, Game Master Decides on Monday.
Okay, yes, I will do that.
Appreciate that. I'm Jeff Grubb on Twitch. Jeff Grubb on Twitter. I'm Grubb on Hive. I don't know. Love you all.
Is Hive back yet?
I don't know. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it doesn't. Bye, everybody. See ya.
Bye.
The cream of the crop!